Uh-oh, you are now listening to
D, the Delinquent.
On the podcast.
This is Many Hats, No Cap, baby.
D, the Delinquent. Many hats, no cap.
Welcome to Many Hats, No Cap with Delinquent. Yo, I got a crazy, scary, spooky story to share with y'all. In fact, it's bizarre, bro. It's so bizarre that I've searched the interwebs. I've looked on Google, Reddit, YouTube, all over for anyone that's experienced anything similar to this. And I can't find it. I can't find one person out there. And also, man, I'll be honest. I know that a lot of people that are going to hear this story are not going to believe it's true. But I'm not making this up. Me and my homies knows what's good. My lady knows what's good. Our parents knows what's good. And the maintenance man knows what's good. I'm going to share it with y'all anyway. See, the majority of my childhood, I grew up in this rundown, broken, ugly-ass, ghetto-ass trailer park. It sucked. But the cool thing was, there was a whole lot of kids there. So I had a whole bunch of friends who I'll forever cherish and have amazing memories with. I love y'all. But all of our parents, they would always stress to us, you can run around, do whatever you want, but don't go near or buy or play around this specific trailer and yard. All of our parents said this. Even the parents of the kids that weren't outside as much as we were, their parents would also say this. And we never knew why. And one day, me and the homies, we ran out of shit to do. We just ran out of windows to break. And we got bored and we decided to go check out this trailer and yard. Half of the pack went home. They were scared. Me, the homie Beto, and 3 other homies, we were like, fuck it. Let's go check out this trailer. Let's go check out the yard. We've always wanted to go check out this trailer and yard because it was just different. It looked creepy. It was spooky. It was just weird. Let me explain this. Let me try to describe this place to you. This was a ugly ass, ghetto ass trailer park. But for some reason, somehow, this person that owned this trailer, or these people that owned this trailer, I gotta tell you, to this very day, I've never seen the owners or owner of this trailer in my life. I don't know who it was, who they are, nothing. Anyway, the owners of this trailer kept their yard amazing. It was always green. Any time of the year, it was always green. Grass, these huge bushes and trees would grow up tall and they would connect, creating this triangle effect where you could just walk through like a maze. It was crazy. And their grass was always about 3 inches high and it was perfectly level. It was just so damn green. Compared to the rest of the trailer park, it was always just dirt, rubble, concrete, asphalt, and just feces. It was just bad. So this trailer really stood out. Their yard really stood out. It was beautiful. Now the trailer was garbage, like the rest of our trailers. It was old, raggedy, broken down. All the windows were taped up. Some of the windows were taped up with aluminum foil. Some of the windows were taped up with black trash bags, and the rest of the windows were taped up with old Abco bags. I don't know if you remember that grocery store. It was an awesome grocery store. ABCO, Abco. So a lot of the other windows were taped up with the Abco bags. Now, the majority of the trailers in this trailer park had huge glass sliding doors. The rest of the trailers had regular opening doors. But myself, the trailer that I grew up in, we had a huge glass sliding door and I knew how to break into them. You just lift it up a little bit, push it inwards, open right up. Horrible security system. But anyway, this trailer had one of those glass sliding doors. It was green, like a faded old matte green. It was super ugly. It was so faded, parts of it was turning gray. I think it was the primer. But anyway, We decided to go to this trailer and yard. We wanted to go peep it out. We rode our bikes up there. It was a bright sunny day. It was in summer. I was 10 years old. All of us were 10 years old. We were all in the same grade. We all rode our bikes up there. And we parked them at the trailer next door just because we feared if the person that lives in this trailer that we're going to comes out, they might take our bikes, they might catch us. We don't know. You know how that goes. This trailer was located at the corner of the cul-de-sac on the old people side. We called it the old people side because this trailer park was split into two. You had one half dedicated to senior citizens. The other half was dedicated to everybody else. So anyway, we park our bikes. We walk over to this trailer in the yard. We're creeping. We're just tiptoeing, scared. We don't know what's going to happen. It's an adventure. We're about to explore. Our curiosity got the best of us. We're getting into this shite. So we're not listening to our parents. We're being bad. We walk onto the yard. And I just remember the grass being so nice and plush and alive. It was awesome. And it was wet, but not soaking wet to where your shoes are sinking into mud. But it was just wet. It was nice. Moisture. Halfway through the yard, we notice a pit. Now, I'm older now, and I'm trying to tell myself that pit was just a fire pit because it was bowl-shaped into the ground and it was cemented and there was rocks around it. So it only makes sense that, yeah, it had to have been a fire pit. But I also can't help the way that I seen it at that age. It looked like some crazy satanic shit. And I'll tell you why. Inside the bowl were little carvings. I swear it looked so satanic. No, it wasn't crosses and X's and eyeballs. No, there was just weird symbols engraved into the cement. And around the cement were a bunch of rocks. And these rocks were about maybe 6 inches. Yeah, 6 by 6s. And these rocks were only there. I've never seen these rocks anywhere else in that damn trailer park. And I knew that trailer park like the back of my hand. So believe me when I tell you, them rocks were not from the trailer park or not from that area. They're not even from Arizona. I'm pretty damn sure of it. And they had this nice little glitter effect to them when the sun hit them just right. So we're looking at this pit and Bethel decides to grab a stick. He grabs a stick, maybe about 3 feet long, and he starts poking around the inside of that pit. He starts like tracing the symbols in that pit. We're just looking at him doing that and we're tripping out. The other homies are looking around. We're all scared. One of the homies decides to kick over a rock. I don't know why. We're kids. He kicks over a rock and I'm watching his foot kick this rock. It lifts up, but I swear to you, it like stopped before going into the pit and then it fell back down into its place. And he looked at me and I looked at him and we're like, what the f? And everybody else is like, well, what happened? What happened? Because everybody's on high alert, right? My homie says, you didn't just see that? Joey, you saw that? I said, yeah, I did see that. My homie says, look. And everybody's looking at his feet and he kicks the rock again. And it moves like it's going to fall into the pit, but then it stops and then goes right back to where it was at. All of us are like, whoa. And that's weird because something was preventing the rocks from going into the pit. But nothing was preventing Beto from poking around in the inside of it with a stick. Super weird. So anyway, we're over it. We get over this pit. We want to go explore these little pathways that these bushes created. This yard was super dark. There was so many trees that were connecting up high. It was completely blocking out the sun. And it was summertime. But for some let me tell you this. In Arizona summertime, it gets to 120 in the shade, bro. And for some reason, in this person's yard, with all these trees and the grass and everything, it felt like it was a nice 70. No cap. So we want to go explore these little pathways. We start walking into them. And we're tripping out because it felt like forever. We're walking and walking and walking. You got to keep in mind, this is a tight-knit trailer park. All the trailers are just right next to each other. We all had yards, but not big yards. It's crazy how long this path was. Yeah, this trailer was in a cul-de-sac, so their yard's gonna be a little bit bigger than others, but it didn't make sense. So we're walking in this path underneath these bushes and we're just tripping out. We're seeing like random flowers. We're seeing random areas where there's like a rose bush, other flowers, I don't remember, like blue ones, green ones, orange ones, yellow ones, a whole bunch of different flowers, and they were just in their own little sections. So when we get to the end of this pathway, Bethel says, "Bro, we should go back." I go, "What do you mean? The house is right there." We look out the pathway and we see the trailer, the old green trailer, but for some reason, it doesn't look like how it did before we got into the yard. None of the windows were taped up, and the paint was a little bit newer. No cap, I'm not making this up. I seen what Bethel was seeing. And another thing that I noticed was, even though we parked our bikes at the neighbor's trailer, the bikes weren't there. We should have, you would think we're kids, we're gonna run forward and go look for our bikes, but nah, we listened to Bethel. We turned around, we started walking back, we started backtracking. As we're backtracking, none of the flowers were around. And I swear to you, the closer we got to the entrance, how we came in, it got hotter. All of a sudden, we felt the summer heat. It was no longer 70 degrees. It felt like a 90, climbing to a 95. It was just getting hotter and hotter. We finally come out to where we came, and we're back to where that pit was. Now, this pit had weird ash in it this time. It was like someone just lit something and put it out and walked away. We walk up to the pit and we're all tripping out. Like, what the fuck? We didn't smell smoke. We didn't smell anything burning or nothing like that. It was hotter, but just all around us, temperature-wise. We look at the pit and there's just ashes in there. Bethel goes and gets the stick that he was using before. He starts poking around the ashes. As he's poking around the ashes, weird things started popping up, like just weird stuff, like chicken bones and no bullshit, it looked like a lizard's tail. So just weird shit started popping up. And the ashes were just like paper or whatever it was to start this fire to begin with. Me and Bethel look at each other and we're like, this is crazy, bro. And the little homies that were with us, I call them little homies even though they're our same age. They were just a little bit smaller than us, but they were freaking out. They were like, yo, let's go. Let's get the fuck out of here, bro. It's getting too crazy. I say, nah, let's try to get in the trailer. Ain't no one here. The homie's like, you're crazy, bro. What the fuck? You're crazy. Me and Bethel, we always felt like we had something to prove. We always wanted to prove that we're down. We're crazy. We don't give a f. So we walk up to the door. I wanted to get into the trailer. As we're walking up to the door, I tell the homies, you guys just keep a lookout. One of the homies looks at me with a crazy ass face. What? And I said, yo, just keep a lookout. And he's like, Joey, why do you sound like that? I said, what are you talking about? And I started hearing myself. I'm like, what the hell? I do sound different. And then Bethel says, what the hell are you guys talking about? And Bethel kind of looked at the ground like in shock, like, what the hell? And then Bethel goes, hello? Yo, can you hear me? You guys hear how I sound? And we're all flipping out. And I'm looking at Bethel. I go, say that again. Then Bethel looks at me and he says, you say that again. And I cover my mouth. Bethel covers his mouth. And we're just standing right there in front of the doorsteps to this trailer, freaking out. All of us freaking out. We walk backwards. And we walk backwards like naturally towards the pit, just keeping our eyes on the trailer, just walking backwards. And then the homie says, not Bethel, one of the little homies, he says, why do you sound like Bethel telling me this? Why do you sound like Bethel? And why does Bethel sound like you? I'm freaking out. We go to our bikes. It's now time to leave. We got to get the hell out of there. As we're riding our bikes, we're just yelling at each other. Why is this happening, bro? What's going on? What's happening? And as Bethel's talking to me, I hear myself. And as I'm talking to Bethel, the way he described it to me is he's hearing himself. And the homies that were with us, the 3 homies, they said straight up that we just swapped voices. Completely swapped voices. We're riding our bikes, hauling ass. The plan was to go to Bethel's house because his house was closest. So we're riding bikes. And then down the street, the maintenance men and the security guards in the trailer park, they used to ride around these little golf carts. There was one maintenance man. His name was Rudy. Awesome dude. He's coming down our way. We're heading towards him. And Rudy sees us freaking out, yelling. And Rudy's like, what's wrong? What's going on? What's going on? And he cuts us off with the golf cart. What's going on? And I go, Rudy, something's happening with our voices. And Rudy looked at me and he goes, why do you sound like that? Because Rudy, he pretty much seen us grow up from diapers. You feel me? He knows what I sound like. He knows what Bethel sounds like. He knows what the other homies sound like. Rudy's looking at me and he's like, why do you sound like that? And I go, I don't know what's going on. And then Bethel says, we switched voices. And Rudy looked at Bethel. And I remember Rudy putting his hands on Bethel's shoulders. And he goes, say that again. And Bethel says it again. We switched voices. And Rudy says, he's just freaking out. Rudy's freaking out. He tells me and Bethel to sit in the golf cart. Leave your bikes there. I'm taking you guys to your parents' house. We left the bikes there. The homies, they didn't even stay there and watch our bikes. They just went home. They left. As we're driving up to Bethel's house first, because his house was closest, Rudy's like, what the hell did you guys do? What the hell are you guys fucking with? And Bethel tells him, we went to the trailer on the corner. That's all you had to say for Rudy to know where we went. Rudy then stops, slams the brakes. What? We went to the trailer. And then as he's trying to say it again, Bethel just loses his voice. And then I try to tell Rudy what Bethel was trying to say. We went to the trailer on the corner. I say, yeah, and then I completely lose my voice too. Rudy's looking at us both. He goes, God damn it. And he presses the gas again. We're just hauling ass towards Bethel's house. Right when we pull up to Bethel's house, Rudy says, come on, get down. I noticed that I didn't feel the same way again. I felt like I could talk again. So I said, are we going to be okay? And Rudy stopped and he looked back at me and he goes, say that again. I said, are we going to be okay? And he goes, I think you are. I got my voice back. And then Bethel comes down from the golf cart and he says the same thing. Hey, do I sound like me? Yeah, you do. And Rudy said, I want you guys to go home and I'll go get the bikes and tell your parents what happened. I'm like, all right. Bethel tells his mom what happened. I go home. I tell my mom what happened. I remember my mom. My mom never played with black magic, but she knew people that were into that. And I remember my mom just telling me, I told you to stay away from that trailer. What's crazy is this happened within a week of me seeing a dead body for the very first time. I know they're not related. I just know it. But it's crazy that the timing was right in that area. Now, I've seen plenty of dead bodies in my lifetime, more than the average civilian. No, I'm not trying to glorify that or try to get a trophy for that. But it is what it is. A week before that, maybe like 5 days before that whole voice change experience, there was this old dude named Mitch that lived in the trailer park. Mitch was 95 years old, and he would get up every day, 6 a.m., and walk the whole trailer park with his cane. Sometimes he'd have his dog. Most of the times he didn't have his dog. His dog looked like Lassie from that old TV show. And then Mitch would also walk the trailer park again at 8 o'clock at night. 95 years old. Crazy old white man. Strong. Well, anyway, in his yard, he had these 2 huge pine trees. Huge, strong trees. The trunks were huge. Like, it would take 5 people to hold hands to wrap around a trunk. These pine trees were huge, bro. And we would climb them. Now, they were in Mitch's yard. And all of our parents told us to leave Mitch alone, stop climbing his trees, and, he's an old man, you guys are gonna scare him to death and all that. But we would climb his tree anyway. Mitch didn't want us climbing his trees, not because he was a grump. It was more of a safety thing. He didn't want to be responsible if one of us fell down and hurt ourselves on his property. You know how that goes. So whenever we would climb those pine trees, we had to make sure to do it at night. Or we would have to climb and then go really fast in the middle of the area of the tree, because when you're in the middle section of that tree and you look towards Mitch's trailer, there was a clear view into his kitchen, through his little kitchen window. So you'd always have to start your climb, and then right in that middle area, you gotta hurry up. You know what I mean? And then if you got to the top of the pine tree, it would start to tip and sway. But that tree would never break because it was so damn strong. Those trees are still up to this day. But anyway, one day, 5 days before this whole voice exchange situation, event, whatever you want to call it, one day we were climbing the pine trees, just me and Beto. And for some reason, I was just going slow. Beto went first and he went fast all the way to the top. I was just taking my time. I think I thought I was being bad, or, Mr. Badass. I ain't afraid of nothing. I ain't afraid of Mitch. No, I was going slow. When I got to the middle area of this pine tree, I looked inside. We would always look inside Mitch's kitchen window. Well, this day, when I looked through Mitch's kitchen window, I just saw feet. And I was like, yo, Beto, come back down here. Look at this. Beto starts climbing down. I go, look, bro, is that Mitch? Beto looks and he goes, oh shit, that is Mitch. I remember I knew how to break into glass sliding doors. Mitch had the same glass sliding door we had. So we climbed down and I tell Beto, hold up, bro. I'm gonna check if he's all right. Beto says, nah, don't break into his house, bro. Mitch is cool. I go, no, I'm not breaking into his house. I'm gonna see if he's all right. I lift the door up and give it a little push in and I open it. I peek my head inside and I see Mitch just laid out. There was a little trickle of blood underneath like his head. His carpet was just soaked. And then half of his body, his waist down, was in the kitchen area where there was like cheap tile in those trailers, like those roll-on vinyl tiles. Mitch is gone. Mitch is dead. Now, it wasn't stinking or nothing like that. It wasn't, what do they call it, decomposing and all that yet. I mean, this was fresh. Like, this just happened. I close the glass shutting door. I tell Beto, yeah, I don't think he's alive, bro. Well, what should we do? Well, we gotta call the cops, man. So we start walking over to my house, and then Rudy is coming by on the golf cart. I said, Rudy. Rudy comes down, what's going on? I go, Mitch, man. Mitch, something's wrong with Mitch. He goes, what's wrong with Mitch? I said, he's dead, bro. And I was crying as I was telling him, because Mitch was cool. Everybody loved Mitch. Rudy goes, what do you mean he's dead? And I said, we saw his feet through the kitchen window. I checked on him and he's dead, man. He's not moving and there's blood around his head. Rudy flies down there. We can see Rudy from a distance. He gets off his golf cart, runs up his little stairs, and just forces open that glass door, and he does what he does. But that's just crazy to me how that timing was kind of lined up, And I left this out, but Mitch would always tell us during his walks, if ever he caught us around that creepy ass trailer, he'd always tell us, you boys stay away from this place. He would always say that. One day, maybe like 2 months before his passing, Beto asked him, why do you always say that, man? Why you always tell us to stay away from there, bro? Mitch said, because shit changes in there. Things that are not supposed to happen just happen. And if you keep playing with it or playing around it, you guys are going to find out. And we found out.
D, the delinquent. Many hats, no cap.